Again, happy Sunday to everyone. The theme of today is very important because it talks about karma. When you hear the word karma, you can have a bit of fear because they think what can happen. And it's not like that. Karma is, there is good karma and less good karma. For us, that we have a master, a teacher in our spiritual path, it means that our karma is so good. Yogananda would say, all of those that are here with me have so much good karma. It's the result of our past lives. It is what we can complete in one life or in past lives, or we have not completed, so we come back to live that experience and to complete and clean that karma. Every action has a reaction, a consequence, and some have to be approached in many lives. Our karma is very good. I remember an experience that I had like 30 years ago. I had very strong abdominal pain, and I had to go to the hospital, and the surgeon said that I had to operate. I had moved to America, to another village, and I was here. I had come back to Italy to finish some business. My family was in the United States, and I had to decide this, and I just had to do it. So I said, okay, let's operate. So I went to the operating room, and I came out after a complete operation, and the doctor came and said, I tried to do the best, but I couldn't do the whole thing, the whole operation. We will have to operate again in a month because the infection was too large, and I could not do what I had to do. It would have been too invasive. I said, okay, this thing had to happen, and it's okay. And I was in my room, and there were other men in my room, patients that were in the same room I was. And at one point, the nurse comes in with a huge bouquet of flowers. He says, "Who has had a baby here?" Because normally, flowers like that would arrive for people that have had a baby. And he says, "Well, who is Paolo?" And he says, "It's me." And I opened the note, and it said, "With all my love, Swami Kriyananda." It was such a beautiful moment. Half of the healing had already been done with this gift. And they were all laughing, saying, "This is the first man that has had a baby in this hospital." And after a few days, I receive a phone call by Swami, and he says, "I have an appointment in Venice," Swami said, "because there is a recording house that wants to talk to me about my music. Would you like to come with me?" And I was still weak and hurting, but I couldn't say no to Swami. And I say, "Sure, Swami." And I said inside, "Please God, you have to think about this so I can go to Swami to Venice." And this was supposed to happen 3 days after. I come out of the hospital, and the doctor says, "Be careful, stay really calm, and don't move much. And please don't walk too much, because by walking you could move. You won't be able to walk because it's going to hurt, but the operation needs that you do not move." And Swami arrives, comes to my house, puts his bags, says, let's go to Venice. And I said, yes, okay, let's go, Swami. And we arrived to Venice. We took the Vaporetto through the Grand Canal, and Swami is so happy from all the beauty of Venice. And when we arrived, we had to walk to that place. And while I was walking, I was feeling every step better and better. And when we arrived to the appointment, we did not even have the appointment because this person that had asked Swami to come had another meeting and they had to leave. So at that point, we walked. We had dinner, and I could see that Swami was walking really in a difficult way, and I was feeling better and better. And when we arrived to a place of of Venice where you had to walk, and Swami couldn't walk anymore, so we had to pull up Swami because he couldn't walk anymore. We sat him on the car, we went home, he went to sleep, and I stayed to meditate, and I was fine. I would touch my abdomen and I would push, but everything was fine. I felt well. The next morning, wasn't it that Swami did something? I couldn't know, but I had this thought, and the next morning we were having breakfast. I woke up early and I did not have pain, and I prepared the breakfast, and he came. He could walk well then, and he sat. He started to eat, and at that point he would look at me, and I was looking at him intensely. And he smiled at me. A smile of love with so much light of love that touched my heart. And there I understood that his love had healed and had healed me. I didn't ask anything and he did not say anything. But this exchange that we had through our eyes said everything. And in me, there was this doubt, because I had to have the second part of the operation. The next day he left, and he came back to Assisi. And I call the doctor, and I say, I feel so well, he said to the doctor. Can I come and just have you check my situation? And he said, he did all the analysis. He says there's nothing left. Everything is resolved. So the second operation is not needed anymore. And I'm convinced that this was an intervention of Swami through his love and through the openness of accepting everything that God brings as an opportunity. I feel I'm blessed by this situation that I lived. There are no words to explain how much love can transform everything, every karma, difficult karma or complex karma. And if our karma is good, it's a grace of God that can help us to overcome in a fast way. In these days, we are living a particular situation because my wife's mother had an intestinal blockage, and at one point they said we have to she had to go into the hospital. It's not that I want to talk only about hospitals, but when she arrived to this hospital, just to show you how much transformation there is when there is the love from God, for God, and of God. So when we arrived with my mother-in-law to the hospital, they decided to do all the tests, and they said we have to operate. There is a blockage and she could die. At that point we said, okay, in the hospital it's absolutely impossible to be with her in the hospital. She had her phone so we could talk to her. And in the morning we receive a phone call that she says, I'm ready. I will have the operation. And the operation was moved to the afternoon at 5 instead of 7 in the morning. So she spent the whole day without drinking or eating, and we did not know anything. And the only thing we did was pray and pray. At one point, we call, and they said, she's not out of the operation room. You still have to wait. And after 9 in the evening, the hospital does not respond anymore. And we did not know if this one woman of 90 years old had managed to come out of the operation. So we prayed for the whole night, and we continued to pray in our meditation room. When morning came, we started to call and nobody would answer. At one point, at 9, Laura's mom calls us and she says, it's me, how are you? And we said, how are you? How are you? And she said, I'm good. She said, I think they did something. I'm full of tubes everywhere. I can't move. But I'm fine. And when will you come to visit me? And Laura said, we can't come to visit. And she said, why? Because there's this virus. But we will call and speak to you. So, with great gratitude to God, we were so happy because she had overcome the operation. And then we find a message at 3 o'clock in the morning. There was this. She listens to this message. At 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, lady, can you please tell my daughter to call me, because I want so much to talk to her. And everything was perfect when we offer life to God. Miracles happen, and they have to happen because in them there is the power of God, where Jesus says these things in the Gospel of Luke 8. One of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him. He went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, went when she knew that Jesus sat to the meat at the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment, and stood at his feet behind him weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears, and did wipe them with the hair of her head and kissed his feet and anointed them with the ointment. Now then, the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it. He spake within himself, saying, This man, if he is a prophet, would have known this manner of this woman. And Jesus answered, said to him, There was a certain creditor that had two debtors, and one owed 500 pence, and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me, which of them will love him most? Simon answered, I suppose that the one whom he forgave most. That thou hast rightly judged. And he turned to the woman and said unto Simon, See, this woman, I entered into his house, and you did not give me water, and she washed my feet and my tears, and wiped with her hair. Though she anointed my feet. So I have pardoned all her sins because she has loved so much. Instead, that whom has loved less. And wherefore I say unto thee, his sins which are many are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. You see, the errors that we have done in the past lives can be cancelled, and they are. Because as Yogananda says, 50% of what the errors that we have done that are caused by ignorance are pardoned. If you have a master or a guru, another part is cancelled. But if you love much, you will overcome easily that small left part. So the great gift that we have is this sacrament of love. We must love God in everything we do, because life brings us difficulties, and the way that we live these difficulties, that is what creates our karma. If we live them in a good way, if we live them with joy, if we serve knowing that they are messages that God brings, this will create good karma that will help us. When we resist to things that happen, this resistance by fear or other reasons, this resistance creates the difficulties, the reactions that create more karma. This is very important to know, especially in this moment, in this uncertainty that we are living, where many things are happening. We must remember that the first thing must be the love and faith for God, and everything will be for the best. I want to tell you a story of a boy that was restless, and he would fight with everyone, and the parents didn't know what to do. And at one point the mom says, I'm going to bring you to a spiritual teacher, but you have to be good with him. He will help you overcome your difficulties. So this teacher tells him, you have to do these practical things in the vegetable garden and in the house, but every time that you have this difficulty of relating to others, instead of fighting, take a hammer, go with a nail and go to this fence and put a nail into it, hammer a nail. So the day goes by, and he goes to the teacher and says, "How today was good." And the teacher says, "How many nails did you put?" And he said, "Only 32." He had fought 32 times, and he says, "Okay, tomorrow's going to be better." And he goes back to the teacher. He says, 25 the next day. He says, "Good, you're going better and better." And the next time, 20, 15, until one time he goes to the master and says, "I have not put not even one nail today." And he says, "Okay, now every day that you will not fight, go and take out one of the nails that you have put into the fence." And he, every day that he's good at it, and he takes every day nails off. And he goes back to the master and says, "You finished all the nails?" "Yes, I have taken out all of the nails." And he goes to, and he says, "You see, all the nails you put have created a hole. And with time, these holes will close, but in your heart and in the heart of others, these leave a sign. In time, all of this will be resolved. But every time we do something, we don't only hurt others, but we hurt ourselves, and we have to cure that injury. The law of karma is like this: if we offer everything we do, then it will resolve easily. But if we want to keep these ideas of I am good, I am going to manage to do this, all of these thoughts help. It depends on our attitude, if this is going to be short time or a longer time. I remember when I did a fast karma, it was a situation that had me feel a bit of uneasiness. I was living in another village, and I had given a sweater, a nice sweater, to someone. And after some days, I see that this sweater had gone to another person. And I was offended, because I said, "I gave it to this guy." And I said, "Well, when I find him, I will ask him." And some time goes by, and then I see him and I say, "You remember the sweater I gave you? It was for you. I bought it for you. Why did you give it away? I saw it in someone else was wearing it." And he looks at me with beautiful eyes. And he said, "I already had a warm sweater. And that person only had one of cotton. And now it's cold, so I hope you are not offended." And inside of me, I felt that what he had done was so true. And at that point, I understood that there are balances, and that we think have to be in a certain way, but divine equilibrium is totally different. And at that point, this friend that received this gift gave it to someone else, and the warmth that came to his heart by giving it I'm sure has heated his life more than whatever sweater he could have. We are so close. We are in the Advento. How do you say Advento? Advent. Because we have to prepare to receive Jesus. We have to receive Jesus, that he must be born every day in our heart. Because there are no alternatives. He can be born in so many ways. Today, probably 2,000 years ago, 3 kings were already leaving to see him to Bethlehem, to meet and honor this great master that incarnated in that Isaiah the prophet said a beautiful thing. You, Bethlehem of Ephrata, so small that you cannot even say that you're a town in the lands of Judea. You have given to the light a child. This light child will be called Prince of Peace, Consolator, Consoler, Admirable, Light of the world, King of kings. And in this town, this small town, kings and queens, prophets and pilgrims will come from every part of the world, will kneel where he was born, and will offer the most highest gifts. And this is how it was with the 3 kings, wise kings and so many others that have been there to offer great gifts. What is this gift that we must offer to this Prince of Peace, to this light of the world? We have to offer ourselves. We have to offer everything that we are, all our identities, identification, I don't know, and the most secret things, those things that we do not have the courage to show, that probably we don't even know, because it could be that they have to do with karma, past karma that we don't even understand. But so much will be pardoned, especially in this moment where angels are celebrating the arrival of this King of Jesus. And when we will offer this, we will feel so much lighter, freer, and closer to him. So this is my desire for you, for today, for this starting Advent, that this Jesus baby can liberate all of us, and that we may all find the glory, infinite glory of God.